Hey, what's happening, Roland? Well, today's Friday. It's the last week of August. It's all like also the hottest week, and I've just gotten back from Louisiana and Oklahoma, where it was over 100 degrees for the last week and a half, and that's why I'm kind of dressed this way. You notice I have a white shirt on, and have special stuff, and I'll go into how I dress and how I deal with the heat in just a minute. But I've had some great fishing. Now, last week, the last update I did, I was down in Louisiana with uh, with Jimmy Houston and and Eddie, our guide, and Mike Weiscarver, the guy from Booyah, Booyah Clean, the guy the green guy that has that all the boat washes that are for direct release. Anyway, we had a great time and we had a lot of good fish, and I'll show you some pictures of that. But this last week I was with Jimmy Houston, and the warmest day was 111 degrees with a heat index of almost 120. We fished almost all day that day with Jimmy, caught a lot of bass on some of his lakes on his ranch, and also some of the other lakes in the surrounding area. Anyway, it was just a really good trip. In fact, I got some pictures here. I'm in the boat by myself. It's kind of a cool shot. I'm all by myself, and I got the bass splashing out there in the water. It's kind of a cool deal. We're in one of the Oklahoma lakes, and I think I'm fishing a crankbait. Okay, now there's a shot where I just caught a nice bass, and I'm throwing it back. It's a 3 or 4 pounder. Again, it might be Jimmy's lake. I'm not sure. You notice that white shirt I have on? The same one I have on now. Okay, here's a nice crankbait bass caught out of Jimmy's lake. It's a big fat fish over 5 pounds, and that's kind of representative of the fact he filled the lake back up again, and as the fish are doing pretty well right now. A lot of fish in that size. Now here I'm down in Louisiana now. The week before, that's actually 100-degree weather too, and that's a black drum. That's about a 35-pound black drum, and there's Jimmy fishing, of course, right here. And again, that white shirt, that's a big deal. Hot day, bright sun, fish a bite, and that was a caught on a spinnerbait. And I'll show you that. Now here's kind of a neat. It's a redfish. It's a oversized, over 27 inches, so you can only keep one that size. It's what they call a bull red. It's a 15-pounder. It's kind of medium size, but that's a spinning rod, 10-pound test line. That's just a really light little spinning rod. So anyway, that's kind of a really big deal, catching a big redfish on a little light, small spinning rod. That was kind of cool. Okay, let's go. Oh, now here's Walt Reynolds. Walt Reynolds is my marketing director out of Close in Florida, and it's one of his 20-something pound redfish that he caught, and I think he caught it on that red man spinnerbait as well. And Walt's a great guy. Now here's my big redfish. That's over 30 pounds. Eddie, the guide, said it was probably 35 pounds, and I caught it on the red man spinnerbait. That's really kind of cool. And here we have two fish. I think Walt and I doubled up. They're all about 10-pound redfish, and I'm getting them in the net at the same time. Kind of cool. Well, anyway, now I think I'm back on Jimmy's ranch, and or one of the watershed lakes. It's a 4 or 5 pound bass. I don't know if that's on a crankbait or a worm, but we were using all sorts of different things. Now that fish, I'm with Jimmy one morning, again that hot heat, and that's a Spro Pop 60 that you see me. No, Spro Pop 80. You see me use that a whole lot. That's really a good plug. I'll show it to you in just a second. That's the exact plug. That's really a big deal. And then here I think I'm taking a crankbait out of his mouth. I'm not sure if it's a crankbait or a worm. There's a Gros Savant Lodge. Now, Gros Savant is another place Jimmy and I went. It's in western Louisiana. After we left the redfish tour place on the Mississippi Delta, we went going to Jimmy's place. We stopped at Gros Savant and got with this Dennis TJ. He's one of the top FLW fishermen and BASS tournament winners and fishermen on the Brass Trail. He's the head guide here. It's really a cool place. And that's a beautiful lodge, and they have thousands of acres of bass. Now here I'm catching just a small couple pounder, I think, on a frog. I'm not sure. And again, that's Pat Turner, the cameraman. He's filming the whole thing late in the evening. The fish are kind of small, but there's plenty of them. And again, we're just having a big time filming this whole deal. So anyway, that's kind of the deal for that right now. Let me just show you one of the big players. I kept mentioning the red man spinnerbait. What's happening here is that about 50 years ago, Jimmy had this red man spinnerbait on the market with another company, and it went away, and he lost it. He didn't have him in production anymore. But Toby Keith, the country western singer, the great big big time country and western singer from Oklahoma, a good friend of Jimmy's, fishes with Jimmy a lot. He bought Lucky Strike, and so they're making the spinnerbait again. In fact, let me just show you this spinnerbait. This is crazy. The same Redman spinnerbait caught that big 35-pound redfish that you saw. It also caught that big drum, the 30-something pound drum. Caught a whole bunch of bass, and I've used it all for 2 weeks now. I've caught like 100, I don't know how many hundreds of pounds of fish on it. And the only thing I had to do, I had to change the skirt 3 times. But the rest of the bait's there. That's it. Indestructible lure. Okay, the other lure that I wanted to show you that was kind of cool is this Spro Pop 80. You saw that in some of the pictures. I caught redfish on it. I caught big bass on it. And down in the Headwaters Lake that I fish here in South Florida or Central Florida, we catch a world of fish on that Spro Pop 80. Now the other lure I was using some was a crankbait. It's called a Little John series, and that's the deep diver, runs 5 to 7 feet. Over top of the grass there in some of those watershed lakes in Oklahoma, caught plenty of bass in the 5-6 foot depth, and that was a really good plug. Now I also borrowed some of Jimmy's lures because I didn't have much tackle. I just had this one little box of tackle, and I didn't have too much to take with me, so I borrowed Jimmy's lures as we went along the way. Now another lure that was really productive for the redfish is this swim bait. What we did, we took a swimming mullet, kind of a swim bait, and we dipped it in the spike it dye, the chartreuse dye. That was a big deal. So I threw everything on a 50-pound test rod. Now this 50-pound test braid is really a big deal. This is a 50-pound braid. I used it for my red fishing. I used it for my bass for the most part. I got a few on spinning tackle too. But this is the Solace 8-to-1 ratio favorite reel made by the Favorite Rod and Reel Company. And the rod is something really special. That's that Pro Series rod that I know that I've talked about before. It's a 7-1. And Scott and I and Andy Morgan and a couple of other guys on the Spro team, we designed this rod. And this is our own design. It's just perfect. It's just, if I had just one rod in the world to use, it would be this rod. 7-1 Pro Series, medium heavy action by Favorite. Okay, that's really a good one. Now, I've gone through most of the lures. We use some worms as well. Let's talk about the heat. Let's talk about how to deal with the heat. First of all, you got to hydrate yourself. And before you even start, drink at least 1 bottle of water before you get out of the water. I don't care if you're thirsty or not. Try to hydrate yourself. The worst thing you can do is say not to urinate. This sounds a little crazy, but if you do urinate yellow, that's bad. That means that you don't have enough water. So what you have to have is plenty of water, and always keep water. I drink like 6 or 8 things of water a day. The other thing I do is I take a good sunscreen like this one, a 70, put it on my lips, put it on my nose, and put it on the top of my ears. Now, this is a water soluble, and the Strohmeyer dermatologist here in Naples, I'm cancer free, and I do that. It's amazing. I'm in my 80s, and I have cancer free, and I have checkups all the time because I use a lot of sunscreen. That's really a big deal. Also, along with that, I'm using these cramp pills. These are little cramp pills that if you do get a cramp, I can take a pill. Okay, that's a big deal. Now, also shading myself and shade your eyes with a good pair of sunglasses. You always have to have good polarized sunglasses like these, and probably a good hat would help some too. It kind of keep the sun off your eyes and the top of your head. My hair is getting a little thin, so you can get actually sunburn through, in the top of your head. It's not too bad. I got a fair amount of hair, but anyway, a good hat, good sunglasses. I use the Flying Fisherman series, and they do a great job. But they're polarized, and like the red fishing, Eddie, our guide, would say, "There's one," and sure enough, with my polarized glasses, I could see them. Without polarized glasses, you're lost. Can't spot the redfish. Okay. Now, so a couple of the things I wear to have in my pocket: a good pen knife or a good pocket knife. It's good and sharp for cutting braid and all the things. That's an absolute necessity to always carry. And some super glue. Super glue is good for rod guides and putting lures together and all sorts of applications. I even super glued Mel Tillot's, the country singers, when he was alive. His tooth fell out one day fishing with me, and I super glued his tooth back, and he had a concert that night, and it worked. Anyway, that's a big deal. Okay, the other thing was my knees have been really kind of bothering me, and I've been taking chondroitin. I've been taking a bunch of anthrazoids and a bunch of Tylenol for actually the Tylenol is for the arthritis Tylenol. And believe it or not, my knees are getting better. I used to have all sorts of braces and all sorts of compression socks that I had to wear. I couldn't go up and down stairs very well. My knees are getting a whole lot better. I'm also taking this other thing that Jimmy kind of told me about. It's the N8 technology dealing with photon. It's pretty scientific, and I don't know, I can't explain it to you, but I put a patch in my shoe. This is the N8 shoe patch. Keeps you better balance, a little bit more strength, and it might be helping my knee. And also I do a patch for the iPhone, because they say this is crazy, but they say that the electrical interference that's going out from an iPhone can damage some cells in your head and brain, and it's been proven that enough radiation and enough cellular activity is not good. It's just not good. But this patch prevents that from happening. So I put it on the back of my cell phone, and it's supposed to negate those bad radio waves from hurting anything. Okay, so that's maybe that's one of the reasons why my knees are better. But anyway, whatever it is, I'm keeping it all together, and I can go up and down stairs better, and I rode my bicycle today. I'm trying to lose a little bit more weight. I gained a little bit out there in Louisiana this week, but I'll get it back down. My health's good. I'm fishing every day. Hey, what can you ask for? And believe it or not, these hot summer days, the dog days of August, can be good fishing, just like we've had for the last 2 weeks. Anyway, folks, hey, thanks for watching. I hope I've shown you a few things about how to catch fish, and that's a how-to format that's so important, and some of the lures and techniques that we use, and some good advice on how to stay cool and warm, or cool in the warm summertime. Okay. Thanks for watching, and hey, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. We'll see you again soon. Thanks for watching.